Howdy, howdy, howdy. Good night, everybody. Welcome, CTM family. If you're new to CTM, welcome. If you're not new to CTM, welcome back. So, quick disclosure, this is not a financial live stream. This is just educational. Nothing I say here should be ever construed as financial advice. If you take it as such, you'll lose all your money and end up living in a van down by the river. I'm an idiot. I don't know what I'm doing. Good night. Hey, good evening, everybody. All right, who have we got on here? Hey, Carl, Phil, C. Marie. Love the vibe. Official theme song. Yeah, so we're listening to Doge-wave. So I usually start it. Actually, I start it right at 3 minutes when I start up the live stream. And that would be... Oh, so it's... I guess it's 428. So this is called Lee Rosevere Wireless. Let's go back to 428 here. And I want to see the song that they suggested. Yeah, this is that chill song. It's normally where I try to start it for my intros, that kind of chill intro. Let me share the music with you guys. If y'all like this song, I think it should be my official song. Vote on it. That's a good idea. Thank you, C. Marie. I'll just play it for just a minute. Hit stimulus. Link, yes. Alright, do you like that chill vibe? Should I download that song and just like play that every time for our intro? Is that a good intro? The problem is, once I get rolling, I want to get to this next song here because it's a little bit more fast paced. And when it's just me talking to you guys, I got to keep my pace up, and so I like having some a little bit faster paced music. But yeah, it's good trading music for sure. It's also good late night music, just gets my brain engaged here. All right, guys. Another request. Hey, we're taking viewer requests tonight. So I haven't poured my rum yet, so I've got a couple to choose from. So tell me, should I do the Santa Teresa 1796 Solera, Boom Boo? I guess it's the XO or Centenario 25. What should we go with here? I'm gonna look at the votes. While y'all vote on that, I've got all kinds of rums. Y'all can probably recommend some other ones. The odds are that I have it in my cabinet. The XO. So just tell you, all the aged rums that I do are at least like they're usually a blend. So the way that rums work is that in that $50 price range, normally when you buy one that's like 30 to 50, it's a blend of like a couple of different like 5 or 6 year age rums. They call it a 18-year age, and it might be actually a blend of 3, 6, 12, 18, 6 years or something, or it might be a blend of a bunch of 2-year age rums, and so they add it up. That's how they do it. It's kind of sneaky, but the ones that I do are pretty much legit age rums. So the Santa Teresa's, I forget how many years age this actually is. All right, the XO Centenario 25. All right, we're doing the Centenario 25. I got two 25s on here, so let me go grab that. Right back. All right, apparently my open bottle is actually in my liquor cabinet in my kitchen, so I'm gonna substitute that for the Vizcaya 21, which is the closest thing I have to a straight single barrel aged yearly. I have a 25 and a 30 of my Centenario in here, but they're not opened yet, so I don't want to open those. All right, I got Vizcaya 21. I totally that's not even one of the ones I actually I'll vote on. I just grabbed it. All right, let's get to the charts, guys. All right, this is a little bit of a fun, so I'm just trying to get back. Rum is yum, I agree. All right, so obviously, let's just start with the charts. Bitcoin is back to being bullish. Now, I did post earlier, it's like, I wonder if this dip is going to be the last sub $50,000 dip. I just had this feeling when we broke 50,000 and we held it here for a couple of retests, and then it kind of fell through. Yeah, I mean, I tweeted. I'll show you this tweet. If this ends up being like the last actual $50,000 dip, I obviously put a question mark on it because I have no clue. I don't know. I'm just trying to. But yeah, I tweeted that out. We were actually at a outdoor farmers market and with my family, and I happened to check my phone, and I noticed when we were leaving the house, it had gone above 50,000. I noticed when we were down there, it's like, oh, it dipped below 50,000. I quickly looked at it, and I tweeted this out from my car. Right, as we were getting back into the car from the market. And then I tweeted that this is my mood. So I quickly got home and went on a bit of a buying spree on this dip here. So all the cryptos that went on this dip on recovery. So you can see the setup here. I finished my initial, what I call my initial position sizing across all my pairs. This is my entries. This is not financial advice. Please do not construe this as financial. I'm just sharing you what I'm doing. I'd already put trades on down here, but I was very careful with my trades with very wide stop losses. So I got home, and before I got on here tonight, I just set up some more trades just now. So that's what they look like when I got home. This one I'm still waiting for ADA to break. I do have a trade on ADA from this breakout. Go to the 12-hour right here when we took out this line, but I'm really waiting on it to take out a small trade. So I've got 2 small trades on ADA. I'm waiting to put a bigger one up here. Break of this line, retest, resumption. The reason where I got that from, just so y'all see this, after this sell-off, the first bullish candle, the first green candle after this multi-day sell-off, this is obviously after Mary's hard fork went live, but Bitcoin also sold off. So it just had a little nice consolidation here. So I picked the top level of the last bullish candle when we had a little bit of bounce. And I said when price decisively took that out on like a longer time frame, I'm really looking at the 12-hour, and we break that retest resume, that's a really good level for me because this downtrend, anything out of here, so this breakout here, retest, resumption is a good entry, and I have an entry on there. But I'm waiting for this better entry up here, the safer entry up here to put a bigger position on. So long story short, across all my main pairs, I do have roughly 50% of my total position size on and trades on all the setups. They all had setups pretty much. Link did not have a setup. I do have a trade on Link. I moved this line. For the rest of my position. I did put a position on here. So anyway, I personally have positions on, I don't have a position on XLM, although that's looking pretty tasty right there. Y'all see that? Downtrend. Move this up here. Hold on. I'm just seeing something on the 8-hour here. Let's move to the 4-hour. I like working on my charts on the 4-hour in crypto and then taking trades in the 12-hour where I can, where I think it's going to pan out and I'm going to get a 12-hour entry. If I don't get a 12-hour entry signal, I'll take what I get. But, so, this looks beautiful. Stellar had a little bit of a breakout, retest, resumption there, this consolidation we had. Now, see, the 12-hour is where I like to wait for the 12-hour to fully develop. Because especially after these long consolidation periods, I like to just kind of wait for it to. So this candle right here would be my test wick. So price already took that out, so that would have been an entry. I didn't get in that one, but that's a great entry. So I'll be watching for that tonight as we go through our live stream and see if it looks like price is going to retake that level. And as soon as we're off here, you can maybe assume that I'll be putting an order in for right here. Okay, so. Got some good price action all over the place. So really good price action tonight. Lots of good, some good activity. We're in a strong resumption pattern now, in my opinion. So if I go to the 12-hour, what I like taking my trades in the 12-hour, and I like looking at so I try to do my trend lines and my wedges and things on the 4-hour just to get as much fidelity as I can on that. But I've got a bunch of thoughts. Obviously, I didn't know which way. Bitcoin was very much in a holding pattern for me as we sold off here. And it ended up selling off more than I thought it would. I kind of thought we were heading for a 20% shakeout and then a quick recovery. Did not do that, which is totally healthy and fine, but ended up being, what, a 30%? Yeah, it got close to 30%, 26%. So, but now that we've retaken 50 for the second time, we keep, so we got, this I'll count as a rejection of 50,000 because it got above it, spiked above it, and then ultimately fell hard below it. This is a rejection at 50. This is a rejection at 50. I think this time we hold it. That's just my feeling right now. So I think we're looking very bullish. Let me look at the comments. I don't have music on that for you guys. My music's a little bit too loud. Let me turn this down. It's on my screen. It's like killing. Oh, you know what? Let me turn it over here. All right, take a look at comments, guys. 35 billion from the 1.5 trillion going to U.S. citizens. Where's the rest going? Robert, I don't want to answer that because I'm going to get in trouble. It's going places that we probably don't want it to go. All right, not a Scotchman. So Daniel, I have had a couple of sinus surgeries. I have the worst sinuses in the world probably, and I apologize if I ever sniffle on the live streams because of that. And so I figured out over time that rum bothers so rum, good quality wine, and a few other things, clear distilled liquors, but Scotch and beer kill me. Scotch especially, it kills me. And bourbon and whiskeys too. It's just I don't know exactly what it is, but beer I know kills me because of the hops and the fermentation process with hops. I don't know if it's hops themselves or something related to it, but beer bothers me unless it's a really good, clean crafted. Like I have a friend that owns a brewery in our area here, and his beers do not bother me nearly as much as most beers. But I know he uses honey for a sweetener. And he's really particular, but he's also a small craft brewery. He makes very good quality stuff. So I can't really drink too much Scotch, or it just kills me. I love Scotch. I will drink it in very small amounts, but rum I could have more of. All right, let's take a look here. Now I'm saying that it's in my head. Now I've got the sniffles. Take a sip of my rum. Keep my pace up. All right. Does anybody have anything they want to look at? Any projects you want to bring to my attention? Tonight's very free flow. I did want to look at across all the gambit of setups, but I just kind of went through them real fast. I'm seeing a lot of setups. Before I go back, I'm going to go back through here. I'm going to give you guys price levels on what I'm seeing, not financial advice. But if there's anything anybody wants to look at, Link. Somebody said Link. Let's take a deep dive on Link real fast. All right. So let's just share. Let me share with you this. These are all these charts have been on log. Are you serious? Must have been looking at a log chart earlier, my BLX probably. So I'm sorry if these have been logged the whole time. But now that we can deep dive on this. So Link, obviously you see here I've got some uptrends on my chart, and we're too far away from these uptrends. And then in crypto, I watched the 120-day SMA. We're too far detached from that. And I think the 120-day SMA is going to be broken this entire cycle. Let me just say this. Because of the events of 2020, the macro events of 2020, and specifically printer goes burr, I think the upside is going to be so much bigger. Like a lot of things are going to be broken, and it's going to mess up a lot of people. So the 120-day SMA or the 20-week moving average or the 20-week exponential moving average, any of those indicators that people use a lot in crypto, and then obviously the RSI as well, they're going to break those indicators because unless you're looking at an M2 chart. Now, if you're looking at what we need to be looking at really honestly is charts adjusted for the M2 money supply. If we look at charts adjusted for the money supply, all those indicators should start working again for us. But if you're not looking at an M2 money supply chart, the chart's going to be all the indicators are going to be broken. This is the conclusion I've come to. So another thing we can do is just tighten our time frames, right? So the 50-day might be a better place to look on crypto. Now look at this. Immediately I put the 50-day on here and take a look at that. I want you guys to be watching. If you're gonna follow me and watching the moving averages, I've been using the 50 lately, and the reason is I'm noticing touches. I'm noticing the market's respecting the 50, and I think that's a decent way for us to adjust for the fact that with all the printing, asset inflation, we've seen what's happened in Nasdaq and S&P. I think this is a good way for us to readjust our indicators. To adjust for that, unless you're looking at, again, if you're looking at an M2 adjusted chart, then maybe you can go back to your old indicators. It's just a thought I have. But Link, I've got obviously I had these long-term uptrends here, but we're in the bull market. We're in a parabolic uptrend. So I've been watching this parabolic uptrend. A nice touch there. That would have been a great buying opportunity. $21 for anybody who wasn't fully invested. Another touch of this parabolic trend line would be a great place to add if you're not fully, you know, you don't have a position fully built out, because you can see that bottom touch there, that bottom touch there, that bottom touch there. You know, I don't know if we get any more. I would assume we will. We're going to have a nasty sell-off after this next leg up in crypto. I'm telling you all right now, we're going to have a wicked 40+% sell-off. But it'll probably coincide with Bitcoin somewhere between $70,000 and $100,000. I don't know. I haven't put much effort into figuring that exact part out yet. I've been trying to more figure out the sell-off and then looking at the recovery. But the next leg up, the next sell-off is going to be a beast. Just my feeling. This is a gut feeling. I don't know that this is going to be the case, but it's a gut feeling. But now Link, back to Link, the 50-day SMA. Look at all these touches here. Anytime it touches and recovers. Now, if you're trying to set up a swing trade, that's not the way to swing trade. If you're trying to position trade and you want to just find a good place to buy, a good area to buy, in the bull market, buying as whenever it comes into, touches, drops below, the 50-day is a decent place to buy. A better place to buy is wait for it to recover and wait for like at least a 4-hour recovery. So, you know, you can adjust that. So there's a couple of ways that you can adjust for that. Looking at it, you can put a line on your chart, or you can adjust the moving average period. So on a, say, an 8-hour chart, there's 3 periods, right? So if I take this and do 150, I go to an 8-hour, or I could have done 300, you can see the same touches, right? So anytime it comes in there and you get a recovery off of that, it's a good place to look to maybe lean in. It's like this, you know, one of these levels here coming off of this 50-day. If you're looking for a position trade, small thing. Now, as far as standard CTM, conquering the markets, swing trading, if you don't know what conquering the market is, it's the trading system that we use here. And there's a link to the course description in my videos if you would like to check out the training course associated with that. Let me get rid of this. I had this resistance level in here. We're coming into resistance that I had on here. I have this marked for some reason. I don't know why, honestly, as long-term resistance on my chart. And I would have done some work on that and figured out probably those 2 touches right there. What I like to do now, I have a new method that's, so CTM, in the CTM course, you know, Jordan teaches how to set support and resistance, but on a longer term chart, like Forex charts, namely that are, Forex is kind of perpetually sideways. You can think, you know, more or less, I mean, the charts bounce around. So it's usually a lot of historic data. We can see price levels. With crypto, we're just up in no man. You know, I don't have a lot of historic levels. So the way I like to draw my support and resistance is what I call Heath levels. And if you don't, Heath on Trade Talk, which he just put out a video earlier that I did not get a chance to watch before I went live. I really, really wanted to. I will watch it as soon as I get off of this and or early, you know, sometime tomorrow. But Heath is really good at figuring out, you know, very local levels, either intraday or, you know, very short-term levels. And so I've been using the methodologies Heath uses to find liquidity zones to give me local support and resistance, which helps trading when we're in these very strong uptrending markets that don't have a lot of historical price for us to look at. So what I see here on this chart for Link, obviously I had this downtrend. We've broken out of this downtrend that we had a little bit. I have it marked as we've broken out. On the daily, it doesn't look like we did too much. Let me see here. I don't like this trend line that I have. Let me just adjust this for you. I had obviously drawn this in before, but you can see that we tried and fell below. So what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to see as a false breakout. What I would prefer doing is drawing this trend line here and now waiting a little bit longer for it to break this. And the reason is we came back close to it right here. This is the safer entry to draw this downtrend over here and wait for a more clear breakout. You can say that we broke out here because of this touch here on Link and this touch here, and then these touches, and then the breakout, retest, resumption. It looks like, but this is the safer one to continue to wait just a little bit longer here and see if we get another one here, because this is that outer touch, and this false breakout here was why I would move that out. Now, on the local levels, what I see, what I call Heath levels, I'm on the daily, and the yellow, when I put a yellow line in my chart, that's the buy level, okay? So let Let me make that white for you. This is local support resistance. So on the daily, what I see is this big bearish candle we had. So we had a recovery price, and then we had a sell-off, a big bearish candle. Well, the bearish candle stopped, and the very next candle, the daily, was a very strong wick down and then recovery. So the market recovered and brought the price back to the close of this bearish candle. That's what that opened, and it brought it down. It sold off here, but it brought it all the way back up here and a little bit higher. So this is the last bearish candle before these 3 green candles, and we may be printing a bearish candle today. This may turn this candle that we just started here. We only have 2 hours on this candle. You know, it's red right now because it started out this light green, came into this trend line right here. This is the level I'd be watching now as a potential level. But what I really wanted to see is I wanted to see the top of this impulse stopped on the daily on the body, and then it opened right here. So it stopped. So this is a bit of a small impulse up, and then it got rejected. The market sold off, right? So these are the 2 levels I'd be watching, and it's basically the body of this one big red candle right here is really. And we've been trading kind of. These are called, well, yeah, we've been trading inside the body of this candle now. So the really safe entry for me to be wait for a break of this trend line, and then even above this level here. But you know, you're probably going to come into some resistance right there on a very short time frame. So let's go to the 4 hour. Yeah. So that's what I see on Link. I mean, you can take action on the fact that we did break this level down here. So the levels I have are 27.67, 29.81, the 2 levels I'm working on. We did fall below 27.67, and that was on a daily, but before the daily candle closed, we recovered and came back above that level. And then we've subsequently fallen below it. But it's been holding as support now. In this last test, 27.67 held the support on the 4 hour. So now we're coming to this trend line here. So you can say that we broke, retested, and now we're resuming off. We're about to resume off that level. But, and we did kind of, you would have had entry signal there, but you have resistance so close. You have 2 resistances so close that I would not take an entry. I got too much resistance right here. I would rather wait for this to flush out a little further and wait for me to clear these resistances. Then the next resistance you have, so you see the top of this candle, this is going to be light resistance. It's not going to be super strong resistance. It's going to be stronger because that top of that candle coincides with the bottom of this body right here though. So you have another level there because of the top of that wick, but it's light resistance. I wouldn't consider that real strong resistance, so I wouldn't be too worried about that. This is the one I'd care about more. So 31.47, not as strong of resistance. It's this trend line and 29.81. Which 29.81 basically psychologically is $30. So you get above $30, it's a big psychological level. I think it's a really good place to look at it, taking another entry there. All right, that's my analysis on that. All right, Tanner, get you some scotch. I just talked about why I don't drink scotch earlier. Explain it to them. I think you know why. Okay. All right, got some Crown on the rocks. All right, Mario, good job. Joe needs more diapers. Nancy needs a facelift. I'm not. Anyway, no comment. Solera is a style of age blending. Yes, thank you. Yes, Bruno, thank you for also explaining that. Yeah, you're right. That's why I went and didn't do the Solera after people were saying 25 on there. So I go to my. You missed BTC, Maddie? I talked about it briefly. Let's talk about it some more here. Anybody else have any other requests? Hey guys. All right. What's a good indicator to look at to determine if BTC is headed up? So I've had 2 questions on Bitcoin. Let's go talk Bitcoin. How about Theta? We'll get to Theta, Phil. I'll talk about it here in a second. Bitcoin's headed up. A good indicator that it's heading up is if you look at a. I'm going to be really cheeky and silly. Just please bear with me. I'm being stupid. But if you look at a chart and you see that the price was down here and now the price is up here, it's going up. Right? So the Bitcoin price is going up. So the trend is your friend until the end. So you stick with the trend until it's no more. Right? The trend is definitely up. Now, where do we stop trading this? Where do we stop expecting this to go up? Well, when it clearly breaks that trend and forms a new downtrend. And that largely depends on your time frame. Like I'm looking at the daily here, right? And I see the daily is clearly in an uptrend. So I continue to look to buy on support in an uptrend. Now, let's go find, my brother will have experienced this pain with me. I was telling him to buy some of these energy names here. We were herding together. This is down. It's a downtrend. So every time it comes into resistance, we expect it to sell. So we sell into resistance on a downtrend. And only this has started to maybe form a bottoming pattern. This is a bunch of energy names look like this. There's a whole lot of energy names that look like this. And when it recovers and it turns around and it clearly forms a new uptrend, then we'll go long on it. Until then, you're shorting it. You short this thing into resistance, and then you go long on support when it turns around. Now, this is a really good name in energy. It's a name I watch closely. It's a name I like. They do natural gas production, and mostly in the States. But when they turn around, I'll look to go long. Right now, I don't care because I'm all in crypto, and that's my focus. But it's an example of that. So that's a stupid answer, but I wanted to start my answer your question about how do we know Bitcoin is going up with this. That's very simple. It's in an uptrend, right? So you see my uptrend lines I've got on. These are very parabolic uptrend lines. As long as we stay in this very parabolic uptrend channel, I expect it to do so. Now, see this bottom trend line right here? If this breaks and we break to the downside, and I see very clearly on the charts that I can form some type of new downtrend, right? And I see that we come into this level and we get rejected, and I see price doing that, and it starts this pattern, then I can clearly see somewhere over here, right around here, I'll be able to clearly identify that we are now in a downtrend, and I have a new downtrend channel, and I'll start watching that. And that's when we start to short when things are in a downtrend. Right now, Bitcoin is clearly in an uptrend. Forget all the stock to flow and the 4-year halving cycle. It's clearly in an uptrend. Macro perspective, the macro thesis that we have is the Bitcoin halving cycle and the money printer and everything else. There's a million reasons to be bullish Bitcoin. It's a hedge against inflation, so forth and so on. So, on a very short time frame, I hope that answered your question. So we expect it to go up. So buying on support as it comes into support on a dip is a great place to buy. All these areas coming into these support levels are good places to buy Bitcoin because you're buying coming into support in an uptrend. Now, more specifically, we look at shorter term patterns, and you can see here I've got marked several wedges. Now, I don't bother to, I can see it with my eyes. I put more stuff on the chart here for sharing it on Twitter and stuff. I can see it with my eyes without having to put lines on here, but I put lines on here just for videos and for Twitter. But you can see this was like this is like a wedge pattern, right? So we saw this down wedge pattern forming. Now, you'll read online, you'll read a bunch of websites of technical analysis training that, certain wedges break up, and then certain wedges break. Nobody knows exactly where a wedge or a bull flag is. They can break either direction. So the smart thing to do is not to try to predict this type of bull flag is normally breaks up, so I'm going to set up. It's much smarter to wait for it to actually break, then you know the direction, and then you can play that. So for example, this Bitcoin, this consolidation that we see here is a down wedge, right? Descending wedge, you call this. All right, so that was a clearly descending wedge. Now, we don't know if this is going to break down and tank, or if it's going to break up and resume the uptrend. We don't know that for a fact until it happens. Now, we have our macro thesis tells us it should probably break up, and if you're really convicted in your macro thesis, that was a great buy. And that was a great buy, right? Coming into support. Nonetheless, the safer thing to do is to wait for that pattern to break. That breakout, that huge breakout that this pattern had right here. And I just randomly, I don't even know what time frame we're on. I'm just randomly picked the pattern on the chart. So it broke out of this pattern very clearly, obviously, huge green candle, and then it came back right on top of that. Look at that symmetry. I mean, look at these touches of the price action. Broke out of this pattern, back into that pattern, and then resumed off that pattern. Right somewhere right there when you saw it clearly resuming off that pattern was the safest of all entries. So the rules are: 1, trend. The trend is your friend. 2, buy into support, horizontal support and resistance. 3, patterns. 4, trend lines. Okay, so in trading, the thing to do is you have to have whatever your trading strategy is. There's a couple of things that happen in trading. Any trading strategy you have, it doesn't matter what trading strategy you have. There's 2 things. Risk management is the most important thing. And secondarily, it's having a plan, and there's normally some sort of confirmation signal associated with whatever your trading strategy is, whatever your setup is. There's a confirmation signal of some type. And there's a million different confirmation signals people have for different types of trading strategies. The strongest confirmation signal there is, period, bar none. I don't care who you are. I will argue with you all day long. Actually, I don't know if you just get belligerent. I'll argue with you. But I will argue this point with anybody. I don't care who they are. This is just a universal. There is support and resistance in the market. Okay, so say this is $100 on Tesla, and this is $200 on Tesla. What Tesla, doesn't matter what stock it is, Tesla, Google, doesn't matter. If it's a really bullish stock, is in an uptrend, it's going to come into this area, this psychological level, and it's going to fight with this. And this resistance is going to fight with it for a little bit. It's going to consolidate under it, and then it's going to break out above it, and then it's going to come back down to it, and it's going to test it, and then fight with this next resistance. So maybe you sell off here, but what happens over and over and over again in the market is that when you come into a level, resistance is resistance until broken, and then it becomes support. Let me try to. You get the idea, right? Resistance is resistance until it isn't, and then it becomes support. And then the resistance is resistance until it isn't, then it becomes support. Okay. So the best way to know that when you're watching a clearly trending instrument, doesn't matter what it could be a future, could be an equity, could be a crypto, could be currency, anything. You're going up in this channel. How do you know when to buy that thing? Well, the best and the most solid entry confirmation signal there is a break of a horizontal level, a retest of the horizontal level, and confirmation of resumption off of that horizontal level. The best confirmation signal there is. So, the very long-winded way of saying, how do we know Bitcoin's going up? We don't. But the probability is that Bitcoin is going up when A, you're on an uptrend. B, it's come into support and it's resuming up off that support. C, it breaks a former resistance level and it comes back into that resistance level and tests it. And then D, the best place to actually enter a trade, and you don't know for a fact that you never know it's going up. The probability is all those things exist. When you break a level, you come back in and test that level of support, and you get a resumption confirmation signal off that new support level that it's going to go up. And that's about a 65-70% chance it's going to do that. Pretty good. The other thing too is the reality is in trading, if you have pristine risk management, you can take trades and lose 70% of them and make money. So if you combine all that I just said and taking entries that have a 70%, 65% chance of working out in your favor, and you combine that with really good risk management, you're going to make money. Period. End of story. It's that simple. But you have to know how to do risk management and take those trades. All right. So back to Bitcoin. Bitcoin's going. The probability that Bitcoin is going to go up from here is, I'm going to put it at somewhere like 70%. Why? All those factors. It's in an uptrend. It's come back down to test this both horizontal level, 42,000. This strong trend line that we have here, it's come back in to test those. It's resumed up and it's broken a key psychological level, namely right around 50,000, and it also ends up being a level on our chart. And it's come back in to test that level, and right now in a very low time frame, it showed us a breakout retest resumption, which is a confirmation signal. We've got that on the 4 hour. I don't think on the 8 hour that's fully played out yet. Let's take a look. Okay. See if it's played out like that on the 8 hour yet. 8 hour hasn't finished printing. You can call this thing right here. Yeah, maybe it has. Okay. You can, yeah. Not entirely. So what you really want is a solid breakout, an 8 hour solid full candle, a retest candle, and then the next candle after that to show for resumption. We're certainly not going to have an entry on the 12-hour, I don't think. The other thing, the longer the time frame that you wait for these setups, the more certain, the more probable the setup is. And if you wait for daily setups, you're going to have high probable setups, but you're going to have fewer setups. You're going to have fewer opportunities. The 12-hour gives you a few more. The 8-hour gives you even more. The 4-hour gives you even more. 1 hour gives you a whole lot more. And the lower time frame, the more setups you get. The problem is the odds of that trade working out as you get lower time frames goes down. Right on the 4, the 8, and the 12-hour, the 8's the sweet spot, but the 4 and the 12 also give you really good signals. Now, I think the 12-hour in crypto gives you the best because since crypto trades 24/7, there is a specific 8-hour period that gives you the most crazy price action, and that is from about now until about 6, so about my time. So the next, say, 6 to 7 hours or something along those lines is going to give you the most unpredictable price action, especially Sunday night. It's the lowest volume night. Or maybe Saturday night, Sunday night, they both give you some really crazy price. Sunday gives you the craziest price action because that's when the market's kind of more volatile. That's when certain bigger players come back into the market. Anyway, nonetheless, forget that. People that are trading Forex and other instruments have access to their money to move things around too. Sunday night. So crazy stuff happens Sunday night especially. The 12-hour helps to weed a lot of that after hours because it splits a day into 2 pieces. It weeds a lot of that after hours craziness out. So that's why I prefer trading the 12-hour. So as a really long answer for how we never know Bitcoin is. I don't know. Like it's a probabilities game. It's a math game. It's just pure math, probabilities, and odds. I'm trying to find setups that give me, at least like it totally depends on your risk reward ratio, right? If I have a setup that's a 5-to-1 setup, right, it means that I'm risking 1 for a 5x potential, equivalent gain, right? I can take, if I take 5-to-1 setups all day long and I only win 30% of them, I'm still going to make money. But typically, most setups are 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 that we get in crypto in these time frames we're talking about. But if I can combine 2-to-1 or 3-to-1 setups with about a 60% win rate, then that's what we're looking for. So I would say right now the odds that Bitcoin is going up in the intermediate time frame at about 65% based on what I'm seeing on the chart right now, right? And that's, I don't know how you can do much better than that. And so that's that. You have to have good risk management after that. In crypto, another key thing to know is that I don't put a single position on. I put multiple small positions on that add up to a full-size position. It's usually sometimes as low as 2, sometimes as many as 5 positions that I enter to get to my full-size position, depending on what's happening with the charts. The reason I do that is I use wider stop losses than, say, you would use in Forex. Forex doesn't move anywhere near as fast as crypto does. So I put my stop losses 2 support levels, below 2 support levels down. So like right now, my stop loss on Bitcoin would be like right around $40,000, right? So all my entries on Bitcoin are like $42,000. And the reason is, especially Sunday night, crazy, price action. I want the market to be able to catch a crazy low liquidity sell-off before it hits my stop loss, if at all possible. So I want to give as many chances to do so. So I will enter, my trades will be a series of small. Like I think I have like maybe 3 trades on Bitcoin right now, honestly, and trying to stage in here. And I'm not fully positioned. Like I'm about 50% positioned back in on trades that I want to be in crypto. But I'll slowly stage these in, and as the price firms up, I'll move this stop loss up to break even and put new trades on, and so forth and so on. But I keep really wide stop losses in much smaller positions, and I stagger those in because just risk management on crypto trades is a lot stickier than other markets because of how fast they move. All right, Heath is a wizard. I agree, Carl. Tanner, how's your scotch? Let's ask. What scotch are you drinking, Tanner? ETH looks bullish. It's going up. There's an entry signal. I marked out a bunch of entry signals. I have 2 trades on ETH. I'm 2/3 positioned on ETH right now. Was kind of waiting for things to shake out a little bit. What I didn't like, I did take a third position on here in this breakout of this downtrend somewhere over here as we're coming into the prior all-time high. But the reason I went ahead and did that, and the prior all-time high is weakening in its resistance nature because of how many times we've tested it. We've come into tested its support, but over time, as we keep testing it, it becomes a weaker level. And so I went ahead and took a trade. I think right there, you saw my little yellow line on my chart. That's where I entered. I guess it's where I entered a trade. You know, I'm not looking at my trade log right now. But yeah, I think I have 2 trades on ETH. It looks very bullish. Now, outside of the technicals, we went through this whole exercise talking about technicals, and it looks bullish. I would wait for some more consolidation up here and another entry signal before getting into it myself right now. But that's just me. On the 4 hour, yeah. I mean, this little consolidation that we had right here, beautiful. Would have been a great place to get in. This is a beautiful place because you had this consolidation. So now I don't know how to. You can kind of see that there was some kind of pattern going on here with Ethereum. Beautiful pattern. And then it broke out of that pattern, so you can draw this upside over here. You can draw it all kinds of places, but nonetheless, it was a good looking descending wedge again pattern. And then we had a breakout of that, retest, resumption. So my trade might have, I don't know. I think I did put it. What doesn't matter? It doesn't matter. And this little post breakout, you know, I drew it as a bull flag. There's probably a million ways to draw it. This little consolidation here, and then the resumption is another decent place to take a trade. Because you're clear of this resistance of the prior all-time high, the Kraken all-time high of 1596. You got clear of that, so that's a good place to take a trade because you're north of that now. Better would be to wait for it to come back into that and then resume off of that. But you know, with crypto, I just don't know that's going to happen because we've already had that whole breakout. So it can be a big runner. So you got to take a lot of small entries. So a great way to do this is take a small entry here. If you get that retest into there and resumption off, take a bigger, trade off of that because it's a better signal. And then maybe you get some more consolidation over here and take your little last piece or something like that. Good way to do it. Ethereum looks totally. Now, outside of the the charts on Ethereum, I do want to say this. I was getting a little bit bearish on Ethereum. In the intermediate, they have announced an official time. I think it's in June for EIP-1559. EIP-1559. Let's just talk about this. Let me go to a clean chart. This will work. ETH BTC. All right. Let's talk about EIP-1559 for a second. EIP-1559. And chat, let me know if you know what this is. Okay. This is a mechanism to normalize and to try to stabilize gas fees. So as you guys know today, gas fees, they're really, really high, but they also spike to ridiculous levels. So gas fees kind of look like that, right? And they're all over the place, and they spike to some crazy levels. There have been some horror stories of people, maybe it kind of look like this. There have been horror stories of people placing trades and losing just ridiculous amounts of money and stuff like that. All right, so in order to normalize the gas fees, they're going to burn a little bit of ETH and put a base gas fee under here. So instead of having, so basically they're going to burn some ETH, put a little bit of a base gas fee in here, and what it does is it's going to help to smooth out those spikes and make them less obnoxious. There's another draft besides 1559. I forget the number. I can't remember the number. It's also another mechanism to help smooth out gas fees. So it's going to take a little bit of load off the network. Beyond the EIP 1559, we have other scaling solutions which are starting to pick up some traction. You guys have probably seen Maddox, or if you've been watching me, you've seen Maddox price has gone bananas a little bit. Maddox is one that we've been watching closely, and I started building a position on. I was, talking a lot about. Obviously now it's a little bit overheated. I wouldn't take a trade on it. It'd be a good place to take some profits on it. But Matic is a layer 2 scaling solution. Loopring, these other layer 2 scaling solutions are going to start to pick up traction and take a little bit of the load off of Ethereum. So when that happens, when the gas fees come down, people will quit freaking out about the gas fees, and So Ethereum will probably get a nice little bit of a surge here based on that. The fact that EIP-1559 has a date now, it's going to come out. The contenders have been really, really strong. So Polkadot and Cardano, namely, have been super, super strong because people are really worried about what the really high gas fees on Ethereum, and Cardano specifically has obviously a lot higher transaction, blah, 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 blah. So, but I think with the news of EIP-1559 and the reality that a big part of Ethereum has always been layer 2 scaling solutions. With layer 2 scaling solutions, 1559 and whatever the other, there's a third one actually that we don't ever talk about that's going to help with gas fees as well. That should be out this year as well. But what the improvements they're going to be the tweaks they're going to be making through this year to help alleviate and normalize gas fees, hopefully, you'll see some pressure come off of Ethereum and as far as the FUD, and we'll probably see a good run in Ethereum. Now, long term, I'm still a little bit concerned. I think in the bear market, it's going to be rough. I think it's going to be very rough for Ethereum. That's my opinion. When the bear market starts, because that's really when Cardano, Polkadot, and maybe some other smaller projects start to really take a lot of market share from Ethereum because they've come of age now. And Ethereum's going to be, at the same time, struggling to get ETH 2.0 rolled out. So when you have that concurrence of the competitors are now fully rolled out, Cardano should be fully rolled out, by the end of summer, and especially late in 2021 when they start rolling out some of the Basho era scaling stuff, they're going to start to take a lot of market share from Ethereum right as Ethereum is trying to move their community to Ethereum 2.0, and that's going to cause a lot of conflict. So I think for the rest of this bull market cycle, Ethereum's fine. I do have concerns post bull market. Not concerns for the project or that it's going to die, disappear, go to zero. I think that's a total bunch of FUD. But I do think it's going to underperform in the bear market, possibly, which is, people holding long term, they're not going to be happy with that. All right, what do we got going on in the price action here? Bitcoin. This is beautiful, though. Bitcoin broke this level, come back, give us a little retest of it. And Ethereum it's looking stronger than Bitcoin. Let's look at the ETH BTC real fast. It did get beat down. You look at this. It's coming right into this resistance right here, this trend line resistance. Break that trend line. The other super interesting level is 40. So let me show you a very long-term chart I have on ETH BTC. I thought ETH BTC in this early phase, what we're in right now, we just finished what I call the rotation phase, where Bitcoin consolidates and the altcoins run. That's over. It's now dead and over with. We have entered the FOMO phase on the altcoins. And I don't know, honestly, how long that's going to last. But I thought Ethereum would make it all the way up to this box on the ETH BTC ratio, ETH BTC chart. I thought it would make it all the way up into this box in the FOMO phase, or touch that box. I'm starting to wonder, I'm probably wrong on that. I think maybe this 54 level is more the level to watch. See this right here? And it comes off of this level right here. Okay. But nonetheless, it still has when we break this upper trend line, if we break it, we're coming into this trend line I have here. If we break that, we'll get another good pop, and you see what's going on here, right? You can kind of see it, just see the market, like Neo style. Stick around CTM long enough and just see stuff. All right, so broadening wedge, we'll call that in a kind of a macro sense. We got a broadening wedge kind of going on here. If I draw this bottom line, that'd be the bottom of that broadening wedge. I'll make that blue so you guys can see it. All right, so a broadening wedge. Now, some things happen. There's a bunch of things that happen in broadening wedges. They can break up, they can break down, they can stay in there perpetually, depending on what time frame. But nonetheless, I would expect us to break this and at least come to the top of this broadening wedge, which, where does this put us? That line, August? That's interesting. I'll have to keep an eye on that. But we got a broadening wedge nonetheless kind of forming there. And maybe we get to the top of this broadening wedge and we break out, have a nice little spike, and then come back down. We'll see. This may be a post, this area might be more likely at this phase. I think it's more likely that comes into play. Well, let me start up some of the music here. My music died on me. it's more likely that that comes into play after the Bitcoin sell-off starts. And so when you have Bitcoin, conversely, Bitcoin's going down while altcoins are going up, then the Bitcoin to Ethereum, the altcoin to Bitcoin ratio obviously spikes. So this may be the peak of the post Bitcoin sell-off Bitcoin Ethereum ratio, or Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. But nonetheless, it's coming into that resistance right now, so we have to kind of watch if and Bitcoin's looking very bullish. So one of two things could happen. One, Bitcoin starts to make a move up, and Ethereum simply fights with this, breaks out, which means that Ethereum is front running Bitcoin. It's making larger gains in Bitcoin in the next impulse up on all of crypto. The other thing that can happen is Bitcoin. We could be ending the FOMO phase. And at some point, we're going to have this Bitcoin grand finale. I don't think we're there yet, obviously. So what might just simply happen is, at this phase, I don't know. I don't see Ethereum vastly underperforming. But Bitcoin could make a really strong next impulse in a very short term, say like the next week or two. And Ethereum could simply sell off versus Bitcoin because it's going up versus the dollar or the euro or whatever fiat you're looking at, but it's losing, versus Bitcoin. But we're definitely not in that phase yet. So I definitely think there's at least, let me redo that. I think at least we get back to the top of this broadening wedge, nonetheless. So we will probably make another trip up here on Ethereum Bitcoin ratio. And that's going to be, if you think about it, then again, the summertime, we've got that confirmed launch of EIP-1559 coming in June. So we'll just have to keep an eye on things. That's just what I see happening. Ethereum's bullish nonetheless. That's kind of my whole breakdown of that. And I think Ethereum has a really good, strong run in front of it here. I do think the more I watch the market's reaction to everything, the more I study Cardano. I don't see how Cardano's end up eating the crypto world and becoming like the. I hate to say this, but I don't see any way that Ethereum fights off Cardano. I don't see how Ethereum keeps its at least dominant lead while it's fighting with going through ETH 2.0 upgrade and Cardano's fully alive. I just don't see Cardano, at least not catching up to it. I really think the next full cycle, the next 4 years, I think Cardano's going to be bigger than Ethereum. I really do. So I just don't see how it doesn't happen this phase. All right, moving on. Polkadot. Let's go back. Let me go look at the most recent. I'm going to go from the bottom of the comments up. What if you already have a pot of Doge according to the chart? At what point do you sell to buy DOT? Right now, to sell Doge by DOT right now. Right now. That's what I would do. Doge is a fork of Litecoin. And you see I have a bunch of, we talked about this before. Doge is a fork of Litecoin. Litecoin is a useless currency project. And it's only useless because all Litecoin is a fork and with a tweak of Bitcoin on top of it. So they modified a few parameters, block size, and a few other things, but all Litecoin is Bitcoin with some things stripped away to make it slightly faster. So Bitcoin does pre-SegWit 3 transactions per second, post-SegWit 7 transactions per second. I think Litecoin does like 14, maybe 20, I don't remember. It's irrelevant. It doesn't do enough transactions per second to matter. Doge is the same. And, Ethereum does like 20. But none of these things matter because, there are blockchains coming out that can do thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of transactions per second. And what you can do with these platforms is you can take Bitcoin and you can wrap them with REN's VM or some other mechanism. REN, really good project. And you can wrap Bitcoin on a blockchain that transacts at 100,000 transactions per second, or Algorand 1,000 transactions, whatever. Way faster than Litecoin. So you can use Bitcoin and then the Lightning Network on top of that. So if you can use Bitcoin to transact faster than Litecoin, why the heck use Litecoin? Or Doge? Because Doge is the same thing. All Doge is Litecoin with a puppy dog. Is literally it. So I don't think Litecoin has a future. Therefore, I don't think Doge has a future. Now they get hype, and Doge might actually surpass Litecoin when it's all said and done, just because there's just so much, millennials, and I don't even know, whatever the younger generation, enough people know about Doge that it may persist just because of the community behind it. And that's totally a valid reason. The technology cannot be the best, but the community behind it can be so fervent that it's a valid thing to watch. And so, Doge is valid to watch for that very reason. It's kind of fervent, but it's a big joke. That's the problem with it. It's just clearly a big joke. Polkadot, on the other hand, so what's the upside of Doge? The upside of Doge is that, there's a handful of billionaires that jokingly support it. Mark Cuban accepts tickets to the Mavericks on it, and Musk tweets about it, and you get these pump and dumps and spikes, and it's never really used for anything super real other than a few fun side things, right? What's the upside for Polkadot? The upside of Polkadot is that it becomes the world conqueror of all things crypto and has a quadrillion-dollar market cap. And I'm not joking. I'm not joking at all. The upside of Doge is that it gets a 2x pump from here, or a 4x pump from here. The upside of DOT is that it's a $10,000 per coin, the most valuable cryptocurrency in all of crypto. Which one do you want to own? That's a silly thing, but it's true. It's absolutely 100% true. All right, moving on. Yes, 1559 is also deflationary. Therefore, that's going to add positive, sentiment to Ethereum. Ethereum, yeah. There's an unknown number of Ethereum. It's technically slightly inflationary because of how mining works, but it's also an unknown. But you start burning it, then it becomes technically deflationary, and that's a good thing for Ethereum's price. Is BTC tanking? Well, let me take a look. Nope, still going up. Yeah, get off your 1 minute charts, I guess. I don't blame. I shouldn't be so rude. That's crass and rude of me. There are plenty of people really good traders that trade 1, 5, whatever. And if you're trading a 1 minute time frame, yeah, Bitcoin was tanking for the last, while I was talking, 15 minutes or 30 minutes or something. But no, is Bitcoin tanking? Let's go to a 4 hour. Is that tanking? No. It just came back into support, and it's going to look to resume off that support, or it could fail and get another 50K rejection. These 50K rejections keep getting shallower and shallower, right? So look, let me just look at it this way. So it did put in lower lows. That's bad. This is bad, but it's also putting in lower highs. It's consolidating. The next thing to look at, and I don't have the bottom line. Maybe I should for the sake of this video. You can see this is a descending wedge, right? It broke out of this descending wedge. But it's now putting in, a little bit higher lows as we march through here. After this second little wave of consolidation. But this is impulse, consolidation. Impulse, consolidation. That's what happens. So a sell-off to me would look like this big red candle right here. One of these giant red candles. I look at this, all I see is consolidation. That's all I see. It's not a bull flag. It's maybe a bear flag. It's a bear flag is what it is. If you were to say that. But you can't, it's silly to call it a bear flag when you're in a solid uptrend. It's consolidation is what it is. All right, comments. I'm not trying to be rude to people about, just blasting projects and stuff, but I hope you guys get the point. The point is, I don't know if today or tomorrow or next week some of these projects just pump and have a really nice, pop to them. I don't know. All I know is I know that Cardano could eat the world and be a $1 trillion quadrillion. Literally, what is Bitcoin? It could 10x Bitcoin. And so could Polkadot. That is their upside. Or Ethereum, for that matter. The upside of these three are a quadrillion dollar asset. They eat the world, they own the world, they become the new platform onto which all of the new age financial system, including all of the transactions on the internet, are built. Now, the likelihood is low, but the possibility exists. That possibility does not exist for Dogecoin or Litecoin, right? The possibility is that Bitcoin becomes a new global reserve currency, and then as such, the entire value of all assets on Earth should be about its market cap, which would put it out of reach of any of these other things. But that's not the point. Doge versus Doge. And EIP-1559 is going to make the miners angry, but they don't really have a choice. Ethereum 2.0 is coming. It's going to eventually put the miners out of business. So it's like the analogy that I've heard used, and I'll use, is that, this EIP-1559 is like you've already broken up with your girlfriend, and now she's asking for a favor, and you're like, you know what? I don't feel like giving that to you. Sorry, we're broke up. Right? That's pretty much what's happened. Ethereum's already broken up with the miners. It's just, from a very crass analogy, maybe they still live together or something. I don't know, but whatever. But they're already broken up, so Ethereum's not going to be looking to do the miners too many favors, other than they need them around through the next couple of years to keep the network safe and secure. But they're paying them for that too. So base fees are burned, miners pissed. Yeah, I'm a miner. I'm an Ethereum miner. I'd rather see the value of the Ethereum that I have already mined go up than to continue to be paid in Ethereum. It's just like the next round. So in the bear market, right, when the bear market starts, I'm planning to take some of my profits from this bull market, and I'm going to buy, a good amount of Bitcoin mining equipment. Maybe for tax write-off purposes, but I think when the bear market starts, there's going to be a lot of equipment. A lot of people are going to stop buying, and a lot of this equipment that's very expensive right now is going to get very inexpensive, and it might be a good time to start doing some Bitcoin mining in the bear market. So that's what I'm going to do. But I'm going to switch from GPU mining Ethereum and other currencies to, maybe I'll still have some GPU, but I'm going to buy some Bitcoin mining equipment. But it also helps the community. It's really, really healthy for the crypto, all of you listening right now, if you're buying crypto, it's really healthy for all of us to have graphics cards in our computers that are mining, because we're not big, and to be subscribed to smaller community-run pools and not these big mega pools. But it's very healthy for the decentralization of it, right? For us to run Bitcoin full nodes, Bitcoin Lightning nodes, and Bitcoin mining. Like if you are a true supporter of Bitcoin, and you hold Bitcoin and you want to hodl, and you maybe sell it at the peak and try to, but I'm definitely gonna be looking to buy back aggressively in the bear market, right? But I like it long term. It helps the ecosystem for all of us to have a Bitcoin full node, a Lightning node, and a couple of miners. Just saying. And join smaller pool. Don't join like F2 pool or some mega pool or something silly. All right, are you seeing good entries on GBTC, BITW, whatever? Any clue on GBTC selling at discount? Ashish, I bought as much GBTC as I could possibly. I turned over every rock, everything I could get my hands on, and got as much GBTC as I could Friday. I mean, I bought just absolutely as much of it as I could. So I'm maxed out. If Bitcoin tanks next week, and I have no buy the dip funds on the equity side to buy any more Bitcoin. I did everything I could to buy. So yes, it's super like GBTC. When Bitcoin makes another strong leg up and the premium expands, it's going to be a fantastic. BITW, I played this, pretty well. I mean, I got super fortunate and just sold it. I sold at 197. I bought it at 30 something down here, and I sold at 197. I kid you not. And then I bought it back as we came back below 50. I think I might have started buying it. Yeah, right around here. I bought it back right here. I think I just dealt with it. I just watched it dealt, and then I sold 50% of it at 140 and 137. 25%, 25%. And I'm still holding 50% of it. And then I rotated that over to GBTC. Yeah, I mean, Bitwise is simple. When Bitcoin and crypto are making it, and then GBTC is going to do the exact same thing. When you're making a new impulse up on crypto, the Bitwise, because it has alts in it, is almost an accelerant, and because it's brand new. But when crypto, and especially Altseason, you know, Bitwise is going to make these huge just detachment from its underlying asset value. And then when we enter consolidation on crypto, it's going to sell off much harder than crypto is on the consolidation. So it's a simple game of you buy all, you know, rotate from Bitwise into GBTC when Bitwise premium gets absurd like it was here and here. And, you know, do the same thing with GBTC. It's simple. You buy GBTC when it's at or below NAV, especially below NAV, my goodness, which is NAV is net asset value. That's the value of the actual assets that the trust owns or holds, right? When you're at or below NAV, you just buy it, and then because it's obviously been consolidating when that happens, and the next thing that's going to happen is, and the next big leg up in Bitcoin, the premium is going to expand, and it's going to be like a slightly leveraged trade on Bitcoin, and just sell like when Bitcoin hits about 70,000, or just look at the chart. I mean, it's simple. All you gotta do is look at like a 3-day chart. Let me go to a clean chart. Look at all these lines on here. Sorry, guys. Look at a 3-day chart and go, okay, it's been going up for like 10 days. This is probably a good time to sell some. And even if you sold, like here, like this is the honest truth. Even if you sold, you look at this chart and go, oh my goodness, this is going up and up, and you sold GBTC right here too early. When like I guarantee you on January 1st, GBTC was a whole heck of a lot higher than GBTC was on January 25th. Let's go look. So even if you messed up and sold too early and you buy it back at like slightly higher price on Bitcoin, I guarantee you GBTC was. Let's look at that. First and the 25th. Let's just look. And then BITW is the other one. It's simple. It really is simple. All right. GBTC first. January 1st. Oh, it was a bad day, but so it'd be the 4th. I'm sorry, the first day after. So if you sold January, the very first day that you could, because apparently that big spike happened over a weekend. So you sold Monday morning at the open, $34. Well, I'm wrong. Look at me, I just proved myself. No, on the 25th. Yeah, right here. So if you sold sometime on the 4th, this is the 4th candle. And then if you bought back at a higher price on Bitcoin on the 25th, 26th, you would have bought on this candle. So Bitcoin was lower. The price of Bitcoin was lower here than it was here. But the price of GBTC was higher because when Bitcoin's making a big impulse up, the discount starts to rise incrementally. And then when Bitcoin consolidates, the premium collapses. It's an easy way to play it. It gives you some cushion to play this. And Bitwise, I bet you, was even more crazy. Bitwise moves more on the altcoin. So Bitwise was a bad example because Bitwise was collapsing so bad. But nonetheless, January 4th, January 25th. There you go. So if you would have sold Bitwise on January 4th, the first day you could, that's that candle right there. And then January 25th, 26th was that Monday. Bought it back right there. Bitcoin was higher over here, but the price is lower because of the way the premium works. I mean, it just right now GBTC is a great time to buy. I mean, simple as that. Or it was late last week. It'll open a lot higher. The premium's going to start to go up if Bitcoin continues to holds this price. Even if Bitcoin just holds this price overnight, GBTC will open up higher, and especially if it goes up. All right, moving on. How is Litecoin around even now? Yeah. They're not. It's not completely devoid of merit. There are things that are happening in the Litecoin community that are worth, but doesn't have the upside. I mean, Litecoin maybe shouldn't die. My point more is that it doesn't have the same market potential and doesn't have the same ability to move like these other projects. And it should underperform, basically. What it boils down to is that it should underperform. Can you tell me if comp is as tasty as it looks? I can try. I can say if I think it's as tasty as it looks or not. It doesn't look doesn't look good to me. All right, so you see that there, out there. So this is a bottoming pattern. You see this kind of bowl formation. This top peak right here in the bear market high, whatever this was, the 7th of December 2020. Oh, it was just real recently. Whatever. The top of whatever this is a key level. We're coming back into that to test it as support. If we get a resumption off of that on like a 12-hour, I'd be very interested. So yeah, I like it. Good call on that. This level is support right now, I would say, because we really haven't broken it to the downside. Yeah, it's support. I'm just gonna clone this one. This one's a little bit better. The top of that wick right there. You're coming into it, and the reason I say it looks good to me, it does look pretty tasty. I do agree. I'd want for it to break up. So beautiful. This is a really important level. This is versus Bitcoin. I'm sorry. I'm looking at the Bitcoin chart. That's how I kind of base everything. But on the Bitcoin chart, which means on the USD chart, it's going to look even more bullish. But on the Bitcoin chart, what's really tasty about this is that you see this. It broke this down wedge. You have this, really large consolidation pattern here, and now you're coming back into the support level, which is held a bunch of times. Held here, broke, and then now we're back and it held, and it's trying to hold here. And ultimately, how you know it's probably going to hold is if we break above this downtrend that we got here, break above that, come back into that level and retest and resume off of that, somewhere right around there. So the levels I have, the important level looks like it's 99.35, so it should be 95,350 satoshis, I think. Anyway, it's 9935 on my chart. You break above, this downtrend line. That's a really good area. Let's look at Comp USD. It's gonna be even more bullish than that because obviously. Oh goodness, that looks good. That looks really good. Yeah. So 12-hour. So you had. Let me turn off auto. Get this centered. So this is what I kind of see, a false breakout. And then you had this this is a big old bull flag. Yeah, broke up, looking to resume. This is a pretty good level right here to watch for a, support resistance level. Broke back down below it, back above it. Resumption off of this level would be interesting. I think at this point you have to wait. See these wicks here on the bodies there? Let me go to the daily. Get you a local level that I like. So breakout, retest, resumption, trying to. Got to hold this level right here, which let me give you the number on it. It looks like to me, you got to hold 470, and I'd really want it to get above. I mean, you could say. Right at I'm gonna say 500 because it's a psychological round number. Technically speaking, 490 is just fine, but I'm gonna be safe and say 500. So that's your range that we're consolidating in right now. Above 500, that's a big psychological range. It looks pretty good for another leg up. The only problem I have with it is it's a really strong uptrend already. So what I'd want to do in this case, and in a lot of cases, it's not just this case, but in a lot of cases, I'd want to make sure that I have a really good setup on both Bitcoin and the USD chart. And if I get a concurrent setup on both, I feel really good. Where is my Compound? I mean, I've got Compound on my list, so yeah. A break of 500 on the USD chart might actually coincide with the break of this downtrend, which would be just beautiful setup both ways. What app and pool do you use? So, oh man, I've got a bunch of different ones. So right now, I'm on NiceHash for several things because I've been wanting to be paid out in Bitcoin, and it's been paying the best. But what pool was I using? ETH miner, ETH pool. I had a small pool that I was using. I don't remember the name of it. I was telling somebody about ETH miner. Oh, goodness gracious. I'd have to go look. at the pool name. I can't remember it right now. It's a small community pool. It's actually a bunch of Cardano fans that mine Ethereum. I forget the name of the pool. I think it's like Samurai or something like that. How do you feel about NFTs? Noble, I haven't got my play on NFTs or the platforms because the problem, I think NFTs themselves, the tokens themselves, could be huge, and it could be huge for a lot of industries. I just don't know how much value there is in a platform that supplies NFTs. It's kind of my biggest. Look at that! Look at it! Cardano just coiling up. My word, it's getting coiled up. I don't know how much upside there is for the platform that supplies the NFTs. Why is this looking weird on my chart here? So that's my problem. That's my holdup with NFTs. It's just what is the marketability of the platform that supplies the NFT? So the value of the NFTs themselves, the value I think the platform, like Cardano, Ethereum, they stand to benefit from just the volume and the transactions associated with NFTs and the value locked in with NFTs. But the more smaller and specific projects that are built for NFTs, I'm just not as convinced that they have a lot of really high upside value. I think it's going to be very competitive, and it's not a very difficult thing to do. I'm going to sip my rum. So another way of saying, I'm happy with NFTs, the development of it. I think it's cool. I'm happy to play NFTs via my my investment in Polkadot, Cardano, and Ethereum. Thoughts on ETC and XLM? Ethereum Classic needs to die. It's useless. Although, as a miner, I love it. Ethereum Classic is great. They had the Thanos upgrade recently. It allowed 4 gig cards to be able to mine again. Although, I have a pile of 4 gig cards that I no longer have power for. So, when the DAG got too large, the DAG is a directed acyclic graph, and that's what to be as efficient as possible for mining. A lot of mining algorithms build a directed acyclic graph and memory tables for the sake of searching for the combination of things that are needed to solve the mathematical problem. But anyway, I digress. When the memory requirements got too large for a 4 gigabyte card, I retired on my 4 gigabyte cards. Fortunately, before the bull market had really started up, and I bought a bunch of 5700 XTs for $400. ATI 5700 XTs for $400. I think they're like $2,000 or something crazy right now. So I retired on my 4 gig cards, which I should probably go sell them because you can actually mine Ethereum Classic now. So Ethereum Classic went through something called the Thanos upgrade, which optimized a few things. And basically, one of the big things it did, besides some security updates, and made some of the hacking problems that Ethereum Classic was having a little bit harder, adjusted the parameters so that you could mine comfortably with, I think, even 3 gigabyte cards now, 3 and 4 gigabyte cards. So Ethereum Classic's great for that. Thank you for supporting the community. Cardano Foundation works a lot with Ethereum Classic. It's a good test bed for them. All that said, I don't have enough faith in the project long term to give you. I'm not going to go look at the charts. I don't believe in it enough to do that. It's kind of like XRP. I won't look at XRP anymore. I don't look at Ethereum Classic. I still have Litecoin on here because it's tradable. I trade Litecoin. ETC I should probably have on here just purely for trading. So let me just go look at it real fast for you. I don't like it. That's not good to me. All right. This is the tell for me, right? Look how bad that looks versus Bitcoin. There's so many other things that are strong versus Bitcoin. XRP, anything that looks like this, Litecoin, XRP, Ethereum Classic, I just don't care about. There's so many other better things to be looking for. It may be trying to bottom out here, but it has so much work to do to repair like as Jordan would say, the damage that was done in this crazy downtrend. It has so much work to do. Here's a level. Here's a level for you. You know, you guys can feel free to ping me if Ethereum Classic gets back above this level on ETH BTC, then I'll be interested in taking a look at it. I mean, something went right for the project and they're rebounding. That is 7287 Satoshis. Get back above that level and then ping me. The other thing you asked about was XLM was great. I think it should absorb any of the real projects and real world use cases that Stellar had. I think all that should flow to Stellar. I've got it on my charts. I trade it actively. Great project. I do not hold it long term. It is not in my hodl bag. I own 0% of it. 0% of my hodl bag and my offline cold storage is XLM. I don't believe in it enough to hold it, but I like it. I think it's a very tradable asset. All right, moving on. Oh, no problem, Ashish. I'm glad you were able to make some profits on BITW. Thoughts on Polkadot? Oh my goodness, Knive. Have you not heard me before? So early on, you'll find some videos where I was kind of bearish on Polkadot. I said, but I lumped Polkadot and Polkadot and Cosmos in the same bucket and said, okay, they're both this inter-chain communication, blah, 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 blah. What I didn't understand about Polkadot was how the parachains work, how the side projects that are being built into it. And the light bulb moment I had was, oh my God, Polkadot is Etsy for blockchain developers. So basically, if I want to build a new blockchain, a new project, but I don't want to go through all the effort and work of having to build my own blockchain and try to be competitive with all the other really great, the Algorand's and the Elrons and the Zalikas and the Cardanos of the world, right? And they've got so much great work. I can't possibly compete with them without doing a ton of work. But I need my own blockchain because my application demands that I have my own chain. I can't just be a coin on Ethereum and have smart contracts, right? I need to have my own chain for some reason. VeChain, is a good example of one that really needed their own chain. It's a very specific use case they have, and they have an application that's very tightly coupled with the chain. So what I can do, instead of having to build my own chain, which is a ton of work, is I can go build on one of the best blockchains in the world called Polkadot, and I can use their substrate, which is a developer framework for building, and I can just borrow all their code, all their great code, and I can snap into either Kusama, which is the side testnet, or the main net, Polkadot. Hopefully, if I'm a really good project and I have a lot of real merit and I get awarded a parachain slot, I can snap into Polkadot and I can fit into that ecosystem without having to do all the work of building my own chain. And I can be building my application on my own chain using some of the best technology in cryptocurrency. And so that's when I had that revelation that they were like Etsy for the developer, basically, is what it boils down to. I was like, okay, great. I'm changing my mind. Polkadot's great. And I started buying lots of it. And it is like my number 4 largest crypto holding now. I think I passed up Link slightly. I don't know. By cost, it's probably barely past Link. Link and Polkadot are about the same, really. It's Bitcoin number 1, Cardano number 2, Ethereum number 3, and I think Polkadot and Link are about the same for me. And then everything else is much, much, much smaller. Like Loopring, I keep saying is my 6th largest, but it's like way, way smaller. Polkadot's great. The chart looks good. It's obviously going up. It's been very strong uptrend. It's a fantastic project. It could literally eat the world and become a quadrillion-dollar asset, and that's not even a joke. Like in 20 years, but so Polkadot's great. Why are DOT and ADA not on Coinbase? Does anyone know? I do not. Have a good night, Jack. Yeah, default name. I'm gonna get some more rum here, and then we'll keep going. I'll pour myself rum. Yes, you should mine to help the community. That's the reason I mine. Like, I don't make much off of it. It's not like I make a whole bunch of money off of mining. It's just more it's more for the educational aspect of it, to be fully plugged into the crypto community, to understand what's going on, to understand the technology, to understand how it all works. Make a little bit off of it, but not much. But it helps. And because I'm mining and I understand the blockchain of the community, I just saw the numbers changing real fast on Bitcoin. Let's go look at something real fast. But because I'm plugged in on that side of the ecosystem too, it helps me understand things, and and it supports the community. Oh, thank you, Daniel. I'll see the comment. I'm digging it. I don't know what you're digging, Daniel. Let me see if I see some other context here. But yeah, thanks. I appreciate the fact that you say you're digging it. NFTs. Could you look at BNB, see if you think... Lizzie, I don't like BNB. I did before it made this huge run. I think it's a great utility coin. Let me warn you of something about BNB. Where is BNB out of my list? Oh, it's down under my... I used to be on Binance. I'm not on Binance anymore because I don't have Binance US natively, and I just felt uncomfortable with it. Beautiful pattern setting up. I haven't looked at BNB in a while. This is beautiful. Yeah. I mean, it's consolidating nicely. You know, it's Altseason. Coins are going to pump. You're probably not. It's one of the best utility coins, if not the best utility coin on the market. But here's my problem with BNB. All of this. So the best parts about the BNB coin are the fact that it's a utility coin on Binance and their the incubator program, the Launchpad, I believe. But because they're going to do a lot of incubation for a lot of like new cryptocurrency projects, and they have already done a lot of that. The reason this big spike happened, and here's your support level right here. The support level is on the BTC chart, 44,000 Satoshis roughly. I was at 44,000 or 440,000 Satoshis. No, it's 44,000. I think whatever. 44.0044 is a good level to watch for on support, which it's holding that well. And the break of this pattern. The big ramp here was on the Binance Smart Chain launch, right? And then Pancake Swap. Binance Smart Chain launched a while back, but there was really some of the adoption happening on the Binance Smart Chain and some of the upgrades, and Pancake Swap namely moving over and having a DEX on BNB. So watch this pattern, see which way we break up, good trading opportunity, break down, not so much. But versus the dollar and versus fiat, all cryptocurrencies are going to pump, so you're probably okay. I'll look at it in the USD chart here for a second, but let me finish my warning. Binance Smart Chain, BSC specifically, is an inferior, we say that like a million times, it is a very inferior blockchain. And it's a good little flag right there that we had. Or a wedge, whatever you want to call it. That's really a triangle pattern. But it's a very inferior blockchain. It is a fork of Ethereum with a few tweaks. Namely, it's like a much lower block time, and it still requires smart contracts for asset support, for token support. So like Cardano is very the native token support now after the Mary's hard fork on chain. So you don't have to have a smart contract, all the gas fees and everything associated with that, and all the security risks associated with that. But Binance Smart Chain, BSC, is why this huge thing, it's Pancake Swap moving over to the Binance Smart Chain. That's why that big pop happened. Binance Smart Chain is far inferior to Cardano, Polkadot, technically probably even Stellar, but Stellar's got a whole different use case. It's inferior to even, let's go down here and find some more names for you. Algorand, EOS, Zalika, Elrond, and probably even more that I'm forgetting about. There's a lot of layer 1 blockchains that are far superior to Binance Smart Chain. So when Polkadot and Cardano get fully rolled out throughout the course of this year, and more and more stuff gets built on them, Binance Smart Chain is going to lose a lot of the shine. The other part of it is, again, the best part about Binance Coin is both the fact that it's a utility coin for Binance, which is great. It's worth something for sure. The Binance Smart Chain is not worth less, right? It's not like it's not worth anything. It's still a reasonable smart chain, but it's very, very purpose-built for currency exchange, and it's also very centralized, right? So it's, I forget the mechanism. It's not delegated proof of stake, but it's like EOS's DPoS, delegated proof of stake, where it's a small number of delegators that actually perform that do the securing of the network, building the network, and it's so it's not a community driven thing, right? So it's very centralized blockchain at that. So it's an inferior technically, and it's centralized. That's my problem with BNB. The other good thing about BNB, again, going back to the Launchpad, it's great, beautiful. It has this incubator program for other up and coming projects, associated with BNB. This thing's called the Launchpad. Let's go look at Binance Launchpad. So this is really cool. You can get sucked into this thinking this is just like, oh, this is awesome. Binance Launchpad, they have all these, they're an incubator for all these they've raised funds and all stuff for incubating really cool projects and everything. And hopefully the projects that they incubate run on the Binance Smart Chain. That's the biggest upside for BNB and BSC, is that if projects that are launched through this Launchpad stay on BSC, or then that's a good boon for them. The problem is, ultimately speaking, like the Launchpad itself, what is the upside for an intermediary for crowdfund sourcing, right? That's what this is. The Launchpad, it's not when you own BNB, you don't own the project you're allowed to help raise funds for the projects using BNB tokens. But you have to, it's a community driven thing. And then you're buying a part of this new project. It then becomes its own thing, its own coin, everything else. It has its own tokenomics, completely separate from BNB and BSC. So what is the upside for an incubator? Like, for example, a crowdsourcing incubator would be like GoFundMe, right? GoFundMe has to ask for donations all the time because they're not profitable in and of themselves. This mechanism for raising capital for somebody else's crowdsourcing fundraising mechanism, which is kind of what the Launchpad is. And it's got some, Binance does throw their own funds in there, so it's not totally fair. But the Launchpad itself is awesome, but the upside for BNB and BSC is really only if they stay on BSC and BNB. And the truth is that BSC it's inferior in a lot of ways to these other smart chains, and so it can become very congested just like Ethereum is and quickly lose its shine. So it's a little warning there on BNB long term. Now, again, we're in alt season. Lots of things are going to pump on hype news, and I don't have any sort of way of telling you on a very short term what the price is going to do. Technically, I do technical analysis. Technically speaking, BNB versus BTC is looking great. I like this flag it's got forming. It looks like it might want to break out. So it's a great coin. It's not, you're not going to kill yourself owning BNB, I don't think, but buying it right after this huge impulse up, FOMOing into it was probably not the best idea. But now that it's had some time to consolidate, I won't blame anybody. I won't buy it. And I don't have the ability to trade it on Kraken, I don't think. I may need to double check that. I don't think I have the ability to trade this asset on Kraken, which is what I'm currently on, so I'm just not watching it closely because of that. But, depending on where you draw this downtrend, you might be looking at a little bit of a breakout here. It's definitely consolidating. So, I'm not finding a really good, clear downtrend to pick. So let me pick this is a daily. Go to the 4 hour. Maybe on a shorter time frame I can find something good here. If it breaks to the upside on this pattern, I'm not finding a level I'm really happy with, but you get the idea, right? Back to the horizontals, which could probably be more important at this point. It's consolidating nicely. I hate to tell you this, but the level you got to clear is this big last impulse. It's way up here at 256. So this big impulse daily right here, you need to get it back above that. So you got to break this little bit of a wedge pattern that we're in, which can start back here and go all the way over here. Depends on where you draw it. You got to break that, and I would wait to get above 256 to look to get into it on a trade. Now, if you just love the project and you think it's the greatest thing since sliced bread and you want to be involved in it, the other thing I see here is a long-term parabolic, not a long-term, but a little bit of a parabolic uptrend kind of forming there. So you can kind of look to play off of that support there if that ends up holding. It's probably a fair place to look at. Anyway, I don't know. I'd be super cautious. I think it's going to underperform the rest of the way. Now, it might still appreciate greatly, and it might still have a really good run in it. You know, all of crypto is probably going to keep running for the next couple of months, off and on. There's going to be some wicked sell-offs, I'm certain, coming. But, you know, you could do worse than holding this asset for the next few months, that's for sure. But it may underperform some others. Thoughts on Bitcoin Cash? I hate to tell you this, Azul D, but it's worthless. I'm just going to stop there. If you choose between $500 and Luna or Cody, what would you choose? You're welcome, Mike. Let me get through the comments, and then if I don't see something else, I'll talk about Luna and Cody. Thoughts on Ren? Love Ren, Rob. Ren's great. Ren VM is the virtual machine. This is the mechanism onto which wrapped Bitcoin is used right now today. So their virtual machine is what allows the securing of the wrapper that goes around wrapped Bitcoin. I just bought Ren the other day. Coming off this support right here. This little, I think, yeah, we came into this level right here. As we resumed off of that, I bought some. This is my last entry. When was that? I guess it was, wow. It's been a bit. No, I bought it. This is it right here. I'm sorry. I'm going to correct myself. I'm wrong. I've been watching Ren for a bit, and I bought right here. So, well, I like it. I mean, it's a great project. The whole wrapped, you know, it's a synthetic asset. It allows for synthetic assets to be created. Their technology keeps the synthetic assets secure and trustlessly verifiable and so forth and so on. So it's a great project. I bought coming off of that support somewhere. I don't know where exactly. It was a long-term position trade, so I'll hold Ren to the peak of the altcoin cycle. So I'm not looking to sell it or anything. You just came into a good level of support right here. So this one has enough historic, support that I can just draw traditional support resistance. Beautiful breakout, retest, resumption off of this. You'll have some light resistance coming into this downtrend. I wouldn't worry about it too terribly much. This is Ren BTC, Ren USD. That's not the word. I love Ren though, so yeah. I mean, oh, beautiful! Look at this. Yeah. Great looking chart too. All of them, there's like you can see a clear pattern, right? We just entered a period of consolidation on crypto, and I think we just made that transition. Let's go back to my BLX chart. All right, so here's all the work that I do on my long term, all the time frames and everything, trying to measure the length of all the cycles and the halving and blah 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 blah. What was I gonna say? Where's my? Thought I put it on here. My cycles. Nope. Chart got too busy. I got rid of it. I think we had it on the ETH-USD chart. Didn't we turn this off a log? One of these ETH charts I had it on. Sorry guys for flipping charts on you so bad. I had some feedback. Somebody gave me a comment that, hey man, quit moving around so much. You're way too busy and flipping around. Just stick on a topic. And I get it. I'm sorry. This is my style. This is who I am. I have a hard time not just like flying around. But right now I'm specifically trying to find something. Oh, it doesn't matter. You know what? The phases. We're talking about my Altseason phases. So the phases that I see happening are first when BTC consolidates. Let's go back to my BLX chart and throw on ETH. Let's put the log, compare. If anybody's new here, something I like. Sorry. ETH-USD chart on the last bull market cycle. You'll see something. Put a log. Oh, Bitstamp, the Coinbase feed. Sorry. ETH-USD Coinbase feed. And flip my music. All right. So we kind of had several phases that we kind of figured out from looking at last time's market price analysis. So the orange line I have on here, let me make that purple or blue or some more Ethereum-ish color, purple now, is Ethereum's price, and then obviously the bars, the wicks or the candles that you see is Bitcoin's price in the last bull market cycle. All right, so what we had is we had this rotation where when Bitcoin kind of consolidated, Ethereum made a big run. It was right here. Yep. So this is what I call the rotation phase. So right here, where Bitcoin was making this huge, it really sold off. It made a huge consolidation. At the same time, Bitcoin was selling off. Ethereum made a huge spike up. And we kind of had that like in January or early January when Bitcoin made its big leg up and then started to consolidate all through January. That was the rotation phase, I think, for the most part. And then you had this, where am I at? I'm like way off on my analysis here. That was the peak, wasn't it? Sorry guys, I'm way off. Gotta zoom way in. EIP-1559 may be better. It was actually this right here, I'm sorry. Similar mechanism. Bitcoin sold off, Ethereum made a big run. Looks a lot smaller because I'm zoomed way out. Let me go here. There you go. Get a smaller time frame, you'll see it better. There you go. Sorry, I was at the wrong point in the chart. Nonetheless, Bitcoin consolidated, sold off, whatever, and Ethereum. So money flowed from Bitcoin into Ethereum for whatever reason. That's what I call the rotation phase. It kind of happened back in January a little bit. And then when Bitcoin broke its prior all-time high and started to make a big move, after Bitcoin basically almost doubled its prior all-time high, so it went from there to there, Ethereum went ballistic, absolutely ballistic for a period of time, right? And so this is what I think is upcoming. So I think we had this, and then we've been here. And this is what's coming. The problem is, at some point, and you can see it better with this ETH-BTC chart. Let me turn this off. I'm going to turn back on here the ETH-BTC chart. This is a lot. This shows it a whole lot better. I'm going to make this line blue. All right. So this light blue line is the Ethereum to Bitcoin ratio. So again, same thing. You see Bitcoin sold off, Ethereum went up. And then when Bitcoin made some appreciation, I think roughly double, from 50% to 100%, right around here, right around double the prior all-time high, which would be $40,000 Bitcoin today. Then Ethereum made a ridiculous monster move. So I think we had this. This was January, and this was kind of like most of February, and now we're about to enter March. And this is going to happen probably in March. So, long way of saying that I think altcoins are about to go absolutely ballistic. We entered that FOMO phase. So this is what I call the rotation phase. Back here, rotation, then FOMO. But then, notice, we had this extended period of time where last market cycle went from August through August, September, October, basically 3 months where the price of Bitcoin didn't really go up much at all. Really ultimately went sideways because, you had a big price movement, and then you had a sell-off, and then you had a big monster sell-off, and then you had to recover that, and then a little bit of a sell-off, and you weren't much above where you were way back here, and then the parabolic blow-off top starts. So Ethereum basically peaked out way back here on the cycle, right? And then it started losing steam versus Bitcoin for the rest of the cycle until the very end when Ethereum also then peaked. So what does this tell us about how we trade around this? Well, I think we had this all through here. This is what we've been seeing in January, and maybe late December through all the way through February is about what we saw, this price action we saw in the alts. This is what I think happens in March and early April. And then this is where we're headed for summer for the altcoins, and throughout the peak, then through the peak of the bull market cycle. So, I want to be trading alts and be in alts in March and April, and then I want to be slim and on my alts and really heavy into Bitcoin leverage positions for the blow off top that's coming toward the end of the very end of the cycle. You see here this blue bar is actually where we're at in our cycle today. I probably need to tack on another couple days here. That's roughly where we're at in our cycle. We're up like 500 something percent. I forgot how many days we are in. But this is what I think is coming. I could be wrong. We could have a sell-off, or I don't know. But I think we've already had enough consolidation here. But it's another way of saying that we got about another month of really strong altcoin movement probably, and then it's going to be a doldrum for altcoins. And I personally, I'm going to be getting defensive on altcoins and heavier into Bitcoin as March goes on. And I forgot where that went on that, why I went down that tangent. It's all about Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Uniswap. Uniswap's the guy's name. What am I listening to? This is horrible music. Like my YouTube picked up some random music that is, sorry, highly distracting. Look at all these study like music here. I gotta find something better for me to listen to while I talk to you guys, or I'm gonna lose it. Should probably wrap up here pretty soon. All right, yeah. So I think it's probably getting about time to wrap up. I had a point in going over all that, but I lost it. So that means it's probably time for me to go to wrap up. Do you think Bitcoin will go back to 51K tonight? I don't know. Let's take a look at the price action here. I certainly don't know. Do I think so? Yeah, probably. Yeah. Monday is when, Sunday night is when the crazy stuff happens. So it can do anything for the next couple of hours, especially. I mean, it could pop to 60,000 and it could sell off to 42,000. It's Sunday night. I have no idea what's going to happen. But tomorrow morning, when Wall Street gets to work, all the the big companies, institutions that want to add Bitcoin to their balance sheet, they're going to start ramping up the buying. Either way, either it's going to dip and they're going to buy the dip, or it's going to be holding above 50,000. They're really going to FOMO because it's now above 50,000. That's $1 trillion market cap is where the institutional FOMO really starts to pick up. So, yeah, I think Wall Street gets to work tomorrow and the buying starts. The stimulus has been passed. $1.9 trillion is being pumped. More is being pumped into circulation. That means asset prices go up. Period. End of story. It's just what happens. So, yeah, I mean, I think tomorrow the money's gonna flow in. So next week should be a good week. I don't know with the stimulus having been passed. Initial sell the news possibly, but the reality is $1.9 trillion is going to be pumped into the system. So assets go up, printer goes burr. I just used to buy things for BSC and use 1 inch. Yeah, 1 inch is okay too. Yeah, I mean, BSC is not the worst thing in the world. There's worse things you could be holding. Why hodl Link? Link is the leader in the Oracle space. The Oracle space has humongous upside, and the dominant player in that space could be a monster project. So, the best analogy I can give you is that when the New World was coming online, so if you remember when Columbus sailed the ocean blue and he was like the 5th or 6th person to discover North America, way after the Vikings and some other people. But nonetheless, when Europeans started to really be interested in the Western world, whoever controlled the trade routes, whoever controlled the land and the assets in that new world was super valuable. The new world itself was super valuable. So you can think of the new world as Bitcoin, Ethereum, Chainlink, and Polkadot. Cardano, Polkadot, Bitcoin, Ethereum are like to me the leaders of the new world. The what's going to take over the new world crypto landscape. But the trade routes from the new world to the old world are also extremely valuable, more valuable than the trade routes inside the new world. So, think about when the colonies first got started. A train system that connected California and the East Coast was probably not very valuable because not much was going on in California at the time. It's kind of the way we are in crypto today. But owning the trade routes from Europe and Africa to the West was super profitable. And so that's what Link is. Link is the leader. He is the Spaniards, or for a while, or the British, or the Portuguese, or the French. He's all of them. He's the Spanish, the British, the Portuguese, and the French combined together for controlling the access of data to the crypto world, to the legacy world of the internet, of finance, of you and I, of everything, right? So he's the gatekeeper. He's the leader in the Oracle space. Oracles provide data to the blockchain and then provide data about what's going on in the whole crypto verse, crypto sphere to the outside world. So he's the gatekeeper of that. So you could think of him as like the, again, whatever the superpower at the time was, the moment was, and they all fluctuated between Spain, France, Portugal, and England. But ultimately, it was the English. So he's kind of like the British Empire of that space. So did the British Empire have a lot of wealth and prosperity in their peak? If you think so, that's Chainlink. If you don't think so, then don't own Chainlink. There you go. That's my analogy for you. What will happen after? But there's other projects that are competitors to it, right? So API3 is one of them. He's kind of an upstart. He's kind of like some small nation that has a more efficient ship, but it's to be seen if he can actually take out the, it's kind of, maybe he's the British Empire to the Spanish. We'll see if API3 becomes a British and actually is able to win a very strategic war in the channel and change history. We'll see. If he is, that's huge upside too. API3 is a great one to hold. But for right now, Link is the Spaniards with all the big ships and all the, whatever. And my opinion is that they'll become the British Empire, but we'll see. API3 could. The graph is so inside the New World, from the colonies, so from New York to New Jersey and down to Philadelphia, the owners of that little tiny space inside the crypto world today, and crypto is in its infancy. It's no bigger than the very, 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 very early colonies. The leaders in that space are Cosmos and the Graph. And the Graph is a more efficient way of doing the same thing Cosmos does, so that's why I like the Graph better, and it's a smaller market cap, so it's got more upside. But again, at the end of the day, it connects New York, New Jersey, and Philadelphia, and that's about it. Chainlink connects all of Europe and Africa to the West. So you tell me what has more upside. All right. So I hope that answered your question, Alexander. What will happen after Bitcoin hits when all the coins are mined, Ola? That's an easy answer. Long before all the coins are mined, the miners will be making far more money from transaction fees. So right now today, they make a portion of their money from transaction fees, and they make a portion of their money from newly coins being minted to be paid. Long before the Bitcoin caps out at 21 million, they'll be making far more money from the transaction fees than from the new coins being minted. So it'll be just another small stage. When will be the peak of altcoins? About 2 weeks after Bitcoin starts its final sell-off. After Bitcoin's final blow-off top, about 2 weeks to 4 weeks after that will be the peak of altcoins, most likely. No problem, Rob. I'm just reading the comments here, and then I'm gonna wrap up. No, YP. It means that we are entering the big run for the big early part of the run for altcoins, and then altcoins are going to get very sleepy while Bitcoin sucks the life out of everything. Altcoins, and maybe even because Bitcoin's gotten so big now, we might see sell-offs in equities and metals as Bitcoin just literally just vortexes the world into it. I bet we'll see a sell-off in metals and equities, and Bitcoin just go like absolutely parabolic. And Bitcoin's also going to eat altcoins. Altcoins might gain versus, they'll still probably gain slowly versus fiat, but some of them might even lose versus fiat. While Bitcoin is making 5x gains, a lot of these altcoins are going to make maybe double, whereas Bitcoin's 5xing, and a lot of altcoins are going to lose value versus fiat while Bitcoin's 5xing. And then Bitcoin's going to sell off, and then the altcoins are going to go absolutely haywire ballistic, most likely. I think Theta is Link in 2020. Theta is a decentralized video streaming service, And the reality is that we can build a decentralized video streaming service without the intervention of blockchain far more efficiently than using a blockchain. The only purpose of having a blockchain is to be able to pay participants in that network. And the reality is it's far more efficient to use some other cryptocurrency like even wrapped Bitcoin or Bitcoin with Lightning Network integration or Cardano or Algorand or something else than to use a new chain for the decentralized streaming service. And decentralized anything, any decentralized compute, decentralized streaming, or decentralized storage is horrible. Blockchain is a horrible technology for that. It is like the worst idea. So building a decentralized service of some type, like an actual, like anything that uses compute resources, storage, or bandwidth, building that on a blockchain is a horrible idea because the blockchain is the most inefficient technology for any of that stuff. It's highly efficient for sharing a small amount of data amongst a large number of participants, which is why Bitcoin works so well. It's a very small amount of data across a lot. So basically, blockchains make every computer in the network, every node, do all the same work. So basically, if you have 1,000 computers participating in a blockchain, you're creating 1,000 times the work because every computer has to independently verify everything that happens on the blockchain. So you don't, like, I think people think that because there's thousands of nodes and miners, it's all this compute power. No, every node in the network has to do the exact same computational element. So you're only as fast as one single computer, and all you're doing is tying up resources of hundreds or thousands of computers to do the exact same thing as far as the actual core of what blockchain is. So building a decentralized anything, Filecoin, Theta, whatever it is, it's a horrible idea to build that actually on a blockchain. There's other technologies that are ancillary that have nothing to do with blockchain that's actually being used for that service, and then they're just tacking on a blockchain for the fees part of it and being paid and whatever. Which you don't have to have your own dedicated blockchain or your own. It's just or you could be a coin on Ethereum. I think is Theta have its own chain or is it just an ERC20 token on Ethereum? I don't remember that. Let me double check that real fast. I hope it's a ERC20 on Ethereum, and then if so, it's just it says it's blockchain powered. Like I don't think it is an ERC20 token. I think it started as an ERC20 token, but I think they're building their own chain. It's a horrible idea. Yeah, so it's got its own Theta. No, this is a horrible idea. That's all I have to say. I know it sounds great. It's just a horrible idea. Because with Linux and open source software, this has been totally possible without the buzz of blockchain or crypto for a long time. There's no reason that these decentralized video streaming services couldn't have been built. So what, based on my reading, is that Theta actually has the technology for decentralizing the video streaming capabilities is completely decoupled from the actual blockchain and thus the coin associated with the blockchain. The blockchain is just powering the transactions between participants. So it annoys me because, afterwards, all right, here it is. Theta itself launched 2018, distributed as an ERC20 token on Ethereum. So this is just a token on Ethereum for some completely separate technology, which is a decentralized streaming service. And then afterwards, they're going to be converted to a Theta mainnet. It's useless. That's another way of saying it. Like, there's no reason they needed their own chain. It's just buzz and hype. Now, the decentralized streaming service, that has merit. That's not without merit. I'm not saying that. I'm saying marrying this project with a blockchain is just to create buzz, and it doesn't do anything. So, YP, I'm sorry about your... Theta may be really undervalued. I don't understand why it's went tight, but the blockchain doesn't power. This statement right here is misleading. It's a blockchain-powered, purpose-built network for video streaming. The video streaming part is, if they're actually building the decentralized video streaming on a blockchain, it's horrible. That's a horrible idea. I don't think they are. I think this is a deceptive statement. I think it powers a blockchain-powered, blockchain-powered transactions for paying for a decentralized video streaming service is how they should have worded that. Good night, Michelle or Michael. I'm not sure. I think it's Michelle. All right, guys. Yes, I've heard of HBAR. I've heard of decentralized land, Mana. HBAR, I think I like. I gotta remember it now. It's Hashgraph, right? Yeah, Hedera Hashgraph. It's got merit. Oh. Yeah, Hedera Hashgraph is another one of these somewhat viable projects. I can't remember exactly. There's a lot to it. Oh, it's built on a Hashgraph. Yeah, okay. So here's Hashgraph has the same issue that anything that's not a blockchain, anything that's built on like a DAG, I used that term earlier, decyclic acyclic. My brain is dying. It's a different type of graph technology. It's not a blockchain. This is not Hedera Hashgraph is not a blockchain, and I think they're going to run into a lot of problems. I've seen nothing but problems at other projects that I've tried to use directed acyclic graphs, DAGs, or things like that. This is what this is. So it's not a blockchain. If they can conquer that market, they can master it, then it's huge upside because the technology is not without merit. It's just, nobody's ever got it to actually work with cryptocurrency specifically very well. If it's pronounced Theta, I've been pronouncing it wrong the whole time. I thought it was pronounced Theta, but like the Greek. I think it's after the coin Theta, right? The Greek symbol Theta. This thing. I think it's that. 8th letter of the Greek alphabet, derived from the Phoenician letter Thet. It's a value of 9. I'm pretty sure that's what they're named after. All right, guys, I'm going to wrap up here.